Welcome to CUNY Startups Spring 2020 Virtual Demo Day. My name is Remy Artiaga. I'm the Executive Director of CUNY Startups. I grew up in Queens Village, New York, right over here, and I'm a New Yorker through and through. I even went to high school with Andrew and Chris Cuomo's sister Maria at St. Francis Prep. So it's with great pride that I watch Andrew give briefings on a daily basis and show great leadership during this crisis. It also breaks my heart to see such a loss of life and to be at the epicenter of it all. Yet it fills me with great pride to see the frontline workers, the chorus of cheers at 7 p.m., and the resiliency of New Yorkers. And nowhere do I see this resiliency more than at the City University of New York, where the entrepreneurial spirit remains strong. Many of you may not know this about CUNY students, but 40% are first generation, 40% are immigrant, over 80% come from New York City public schools, 40% of the students live in poverty. We are overwhelmingly diverse, with 17,000 plus women studying in tech. And here at CUNY Startups, in the middle of the crisis, at the epicenter of it all, we continued working. Our startups have shown great resiliency. They created the 1, 2, and 5-minute videos for the pitches for this event. They worked every single week with their mentors. They came to all the workshops that we had. They stayed engaged even with their lives upended, many having lost their jobs, many moving back with their families. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Bubble at Bubble.io. They are a no-code software platform. They've been incredibly helpful with workshops and information and being a sponsor. We are also part of the Lawrence Field Center for Entrepreneurship here at Baruch College, part of that family. So thankful for them. And so thankful for our world-class mentors who put in so much time each and every week, even in the middle of this crisis. I've never seen mentors work this hard, be such dedicated, and be so inspiring. I've just never worked with mentors like this before. I would also like to thank my awesome CUNY Startups partner and colleague, Faith Jaskowiak. She's been there every step of the way with me. I couldn't be any luckier than to have her on our team. I also want to thank the pre-money founder, Sarbajit. If you have not done so already, please go to pre.vc and download the app. It's free. And once you download the app, join as an investor and type in the event code 70688. That's 70688. And so you can vote with everybody else during the event. I would also like to thank our judges. They are a remarkable group of professionals and global for the first time ever CUNY Startups event. Finally, I would like to thank you for joining us today during this virtual experiment. I hope you have fun. That is really the key for today, watching the startups compete. And at the end of the event, we'll announce the fan favorite, the investor award, the top 3 judges pick, first, second, and third place. And now this.
Associate Director at CUNY Startups. Welcome to Demo Day.
And I'd like to welcome you all to CUNY Startups Demo Day.
The Field Center for Entrepreneurship welcomes you. Good luck in the virtual pitch competition.
Extraordinary times, and so I'd like to thank you all for investing in this program amid all the other chaos going on in your lives. I'm particularly excited to see not just the Baruch students who are in this cohort, but also the other students from throughout CUNY and beyond who have all joined together to pursue their entrepreneurial dreams. You're all very fortunate to have worked with Remy and his amazing team of mentors, and I sincerely hope that they've helped you move your ideas forward in substantive ways. So thanks again for working with Remy, his team, and for being a part of the Field Center this semester. I wish you all the best of luck in moving your entrepreneurial ideas forward, and please let us know if there's anything else we can do to help you along the way.
Hello.
Hello from quarantine.
Hello.
Welcome.
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 Hello.
Hello and welcome.
Welcome.
I would like to introduce our judges, Doreen Wong, Innovation Strategist, Tech Scout at Booz Allen Hamilton, Ina Halilu, Global Programs Manager at Entrepreneurs Roundtable Accelerator. Catherine Cooper, Co-Director, Consortium for Technology and Innovation in Pediatrics. Kim Patel, VC at Alicorp. Neha Tanna, MD, Principals at Joyance Partners. Nora May Kadena, Managing Partner at Mila Capital. Sarah Holmes, Associate at Unshackled Ventures. Trin Linamaji, VP Investments at the Venture Collective. Welcome to all our judges. What we're going to do is we're going to get started now with the Q&A portion of the event, and then during this portion we'll do an introduction to the startup, and then the judges will be able to ask Q&A questions of them. There's going to be a little bit of coordination. Again, this is the first time we've ever done it, so this is an experiment for all of us to go through this. But there'll be a little bit of coordination in unmuting the startup teams and unmuting the judges, and so we can allow for the Q&A to proceed. So we will start with this now. Okay.
Hi, I'm Shayna.
I'm German.
And we are founders of Next Generation Quantum Port.
We have developed cutting-edge quantum technology that allows us to connect multiple quantum computers into one high-performing supercomputer. With this new technology, we can enable unbreakable encryption, outperform current data transfer speeds, leapfrog vaccine development, and much more. Companies invest $300 billion per year in cybersecurity. Yet quantum computers can easily break existing encryption standards. Quantum security is inevitable, and our quantum hardware and algorithms will empower this new generation of data protection. And while cybersecurity is an obvious market, applications for our technology are virtually endless. As a B2B SaaS startup, we plan to install and service 500 devices for an estimated net revenue of $1 million in our first year of operations. We already have the interest of more than 130 potential clients. To further fund our R&D and operations, we are currently raising $2 million. If you are ready to make a quantum leap, we would love to talk to you.
May I say a big thank you in the meantime? Remy, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the wonderful accelerator, for our experience. Thank you so much. We've learned a lot.
So now, if the judges can ask the questions of the two participants here for Next Generation, and then I will time the 5 minutes as the first question gets asked.
Hi, Shana. It's Trin here. Thanks so much for your presentation and for the video. I just wanted to learn a bit more about what the license fees are, and also secondly, if you have any customers on board already.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your question. May I share my screen? Let me try.
Sure.
I didn't do it before, so it's going to be the first time for me either. Okay. Can you see it?
Not yet.
I'm not sure.
Oh, hold on.
I click. Okay.
Go 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, try now.
Oh, that's it. It's a technology.
Okay, now I believe you can see it.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, so we are planning to sell one license per 100 accounts with user information. And one license is going to cost $250. And this is for 1 month. 1 month, $250. So times 12, and it's going to be per year. So per year is going to be $3,000. And yes, so one license per 100 accounts. And during the first year, we are planning to sell 1,000 licenses, which will give in revenue $3 million. Could you please repeat your second question?
It was more about if you have any customers on board already or any go-to-market strategy in place.
Oh, during the previous summer, we went through iQuire training and we had conducted more than 130 interviews. So we already have contacts with our future customers. And now we are in the process of obtaining letter of intent from them. And our future customers are pretty much all the companies with the sensitive user data, such as Facebook, T-Mobile, Comcast, and banks. However, we will start with the early evangelists. And our early evangelists are going to be our CUNY, because CUNY and universities, they have a lot of sensitive information. And I don't know, hackers didn't think about it yet. That's good. That in actually universities, they have our socials, they have our addresses, they have our names and all the information. And universities are pretty vulnerable. And our CUNY, we have contacts with them, and I strongly believe that they will be fast to implement it first. And regarding this addition, Magro, Pearson, Pasco, German can say a few words.
Yeah, with pleasure. I'm a professor, so I can say that I'm lucky that we team up with Shane, a talented female entrepreneur with just very strong energy and scientific and entrepreneurial willingness to learn and the skills. So I would say, based on my experience, we already have contact with Pesco, just because as department chair, we buy some educational hardware from them. We already have contact with Persons, the McGraw Hill, and they have all this bank information from the customers, bank information about our universities, and we know people from to whom to go, on CUNY first, on Blackboard, in these companies. So actually, we are lucky that in that position that we know to who we are going first. That's our answer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the judges?
I have a question here. This is Ina. So thank you very much for this presentation. I think that you're onto something quite big because of, privacy is a big thing at the moment. I do have a question regarding your competition. You mentioned some of your competitors would be Intel, I believe IBM, if I recall. All obviously very big names. So my biggest concern here is, what obviously prevents them from doing the same thing, and what is actually so special about you?
Thank you so much for this amazing question. That's the whole story behind our technology. Everyone right now is trying to build as big as possible quantum computer, put everything in one box. Our technology is different. We want to connect them into the network. And our technology is built on our expertise. German is a physicist with more than 20 years of experience and more than 100 publications. So he is the scientific brain behind it. And we developed and patented this new technology, which will allow to connect quantum computers into one network. And this is something that other companies do not do. They are thinking inside of the box, literally. They want to build as big as quantum computer as possible and to make as many qubits as possible. And we are circumvent this problem by connecting the quantum computers. So I don't think that our competitors is thinking about networking right now. However, a few universities are starting to think in that direction, and amongst others is national labs such as NIST, National Institute of Standards. They are the first who are talking and thinking and developing quantum networking, because Microsoft, Intel, Rigetti, they are building one box, one computer. And NIST probably is the only one who starts only thinking about developing the network. So as of right now, we have a competitive advantage because so far we are the first on the market, and we are backed by the fundamental science publications and 2 patents and 1 more in preparation regarding this technology.
All right. Thank you, Shana. That was the 5 minutes. I've now set it up so everybody can unmute themselves. And so we'll get to the next one, which will be Woo Study. So one more second.
Hello folks, my name is Arif Khan. I have 20 years of IT industry experience as well as entrepreneurship background. Currently, myself and team have built Woo Study. Woo Study is a global ad tech marketplace. We save schools time, money, resources by automating student engagement and recruitment at a fraction of the cost. The problem is quite personal to us as parents of Generation Z. Generation Z feels lost, frustrated due to the repetitive task of applying a school one at a time, not having a real instant information at times, lack of social media integration, and US schools don't have a way to connect with these active qualified leads. Hence comes the solution of Woo Study. We are a reverse matchmaking platform. Automation is in place, social media integration, online courses, and we do all that at a fraction of the cost. We're seeing good traction so far within the first week of launch, 400 leads, as well as with the pandemic in place. It's definitely a shift towards smart technology that can automate and connect with student engagement. Please check us out. Thank you.
I can start with a question. One of the secret ways that, or not so secret, but one of the popular ways universities become diversified or bring in first-gen college students is by using alums and leveraging the power of communities to recruit from their hometowns, from their high schools, and so that personal touch is really important. Can you talk about how you can incorporate that onto your platform?
Hi, Norman. Thank you very much for the question. Hello, folks. Indeed, we definitely have incorporated that thinking as well. So we are an active community builder. And with that in mind, we have a platform where schools are coming on board and they are connecting with the students in real time and basically pushing out their relevant material. Say, we are giving them the data points, where the students from, social media links, which town, and so forth. 28 data points. So schools exactly know where the students coming from and how to target them. We are giving schools the actual filters that we built in, where they can know, depending on whatever they're looking for, town, the schools and so forth, and reach out to them, come up with their own material and push out a webinar, a doc, and so forth in real time, in a nanosecond, and say, hey, we are part of your community and we want to connect with you. So we definitely have that in mind, and it's in place, and actually it's working for that matter. Hello, judges. Thank you for being here.
Hi, this is Trin here. Can you please elaborate a little bit more about the defensibility and how you differentiate from the competitors?
Sure enough. So Woo Study is the reverse ad tech marketplace. We have created this platform where the student can broadcast itself to 14,000 already parsed schools on global level. So with such a setup that we have, indeed that students can connect with us and they can move forward. We have, along with that, as you mentioned, as from the defense point of view, we have social media integration, we have chat layers being enabled, and e-learning. All these mechanisms that are not there at this point right now, we are provisionally patented as well. And the fact that we are seeing that among European players and lacking this same sort of a setup on the US side, we would be I guess more of a disruptor to go into this field and move forward. We definitely have this community building activity, which will bring the student body onto our platform, as well as continuing with that. So we have scalability. We're going to be introducing a whole academic level of different segments to them, such as tutors, such as logistics. So it's highly scalable. We're going to be bringing employers as well as we progress to phase 3 of this. So we'll be a community builder. Students will be coming back, and we'll ensure that we have this a healthy ecosystem.
How are you? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I just is it strange? You have a follow-up question?
No, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. Go ahead, Sarah.
How are you thinking through defining your ideal persona for either side of the marketplace, and what type of customer discovery have you done with students?
Sure. So with students, this is about a year plus in making. Huge number of Google samplers went out. Literally a beta phase was done where we got a lot of feedback from students as to what they are perceiving, what is lacking, what they want to do. So Generation Z right now, really, there were three things that stand out. Generation Z kept telling us that it's a repetitive task of going to different school sites or maybe using a common app in order to get to those schools, or using a typical lead generation site of clicking on the school and saying, hey, I'm interested in you. That, along with the fact that they're saying that there's no chat layer available, like a social media presence as well. So we were able to, incorporate those asks from the students and make this active community build site where, social media integration is there. So now when a student wants to connect with school, we have a way to tell the school that, look, this person is tweeting to you. This person is on your Facebook. So we bring all this likeness to the school as well. Sarah, could you repeat the last segment of your question, please?
Yeah, how are you defining like the ideal student profile and the ideal college profile or university profile for the platform?
Sure. So we have parts, 14,000 schools that I mentioned to you, 9,000 in US for that matter. With that in said, we are using a drip campaign at this point. The schools that are really hurting in Midwest and other places where we are seeing there's a downward, on their endowment and so forth. So we are moving forward with those schools first, targeting those and telling them how, they can use our gateway, our platform to connect with those students that are out there who might be interested in the programs. And for the students, same way, we did actually a soft launch, Sarah, where we actually, on a very limited level, we run a city, on a city level, we said that, hey, these 6 US schools are looking for you and they want to compete for you. That did the trick. We saw 1,000 logins. We saw 400 profiles being created. Students, Generation Z is looking for schools to come to them, but they want to broadcast themselves and be discovered. And that exactly what happened with our soft launch. We saw healthy traction.
Thank you, Arif. We'll be moving on to the next team now.
Thank you, guys.
Hey everyone, my name is Mark Goldstein, and I'm proud to introduce you to Codelet, an interactive mobile platform that's designed to quickly prepare software engineers and to-be software engineers for technical interviews on the go. See a screenshot of our app on iOS and Android to the left. Some of the distinguishing factors that make our app different is that it's mobile, which allows you to practice on the go. It's cross-platform, meaning that it's available for both iOS and Android users from the start. It's faster with simplified questions that let you get straight to the point of the question in our unique way of solving a question. And we have enhanced analytics that allow you to gather information on what part of the question you're doing well and succeeding in, and sometimes more importantly, what you're not. Additionally, you get insight on what types of questions you're solving successfully and what types of questions you're not, giving you insight into what to study and what to prepare for, making you confident that you're going to do great. Here's a practice example of what a question looks like. These are screenshots of our app. First, you choose an approach and you design the algorithm. We have a deck that you can choose and select an algorithm, and then you analyze it. This is just a little sneak peek to Codelet. For more information and to join the beta, go to codelet.app, codelet.app. Thank you.
Hey everyone. I have a question here. This is Ina. Sure. So thank you so much. This is very interesting, and I think that there is clearly a big market. Just briefly, quick feedback. I think you might want to review your numbers around your market, because I do believe that the market might be bigger than the couple of millions that you had. My question is actually two-part. So could you walk us through the journey of prepping for the actual technical interview, and what does it look like, and what metrics are you tracking to define success?
Sure, yeah. As my team and myself being computer science graduates, that's something I'm super familiar with. And so the general process of getting a job in software engineering or software development or any related field generally has a handful of stages, from applying online and to getting through the basic funnel and actually getting inside the interview. The interviews usually consist of two major parts. The first major part is a technical interview after, let's say, some phone screen or any online other funneling. And the actual technical interview in person is comprised of a limited scope of questions that cover about 5 topics and really up to maybe 100 or 2 different approaches and types of problems to solve. And so this technical interview gives you a question and you have to find some way to solve it. And in that interview is used across the industry as a metric to see not really into how this person's thinking and how they're going to solve a computer science or software engineering related problem. The other part of the interview usually comes afterwards. If the candidate successfully passed, usually what they have is their on-site day where they have a behavioral interview and then an HR onboarding. The process usually from a complete user journey is usually people apply online, they have a phone screen, and then they go in person for a technical interview. Sometimes there's a phone interview, a video chat interview, where you're doing the same thing, where you're actually chatting with someone and sharing your screen and you're talking through these things. But the real key thing that is part of this journey is the in-person or even the online remote interviews are on what is really like a whiteboard. And it's a conversation between you and another person. And so you need to convey to them, do I understand the problem? Can I solve it? And these are the things that I'm able to gather from the problem. And it's not something it's something that's incredibly human. Yeah. And what was the other part of your question?
Was around what kind of metrics do you track to define success?
Oh, sure. Yeah, definitely. So, so because of our distinguishing factors of being mobile and our questions being simplified, we're able to pick up larger pieces of data on more precise measurements. So success can be defined by those limited scope of types of questions. And I can actually break them up into, well, I am, as a user, I have an interview in 2 weeks and I want to make sure that I'm prepared in these 5 areas. I can select those 5 areas and select the difficulty and then see those metrics relayed on my profile as progress and how successful I am at both the questions, the category, and each part of the question, which gives me insight as to what I'm doing well at, what I'm good at, and what I'm not.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
How are you thinking through interviews for different levels of software engineering? And are you starting with more entry-level positions and then building up? Or like, how are you developing the library of questions and preparation that goes into the different levels?
So the library of questions is developed from 2 different perspectives to take from it. The 2 major distinguishing factors between questions specifically that have to do with algorithms, which is just the current target that we're working on, although the app is more of an idea of generalizing lots of domain-specific knowledge that you need into a simplified version that gives you insightful metrics. So what we're doing is we're creating questions that are able to be filtered by different difficulty. So lots of times a question could just be, hey, reverse this word, and another time it can be, actually do something that's a lot more complicated, like create relationships, and then do things that are a lot more difficult. So in terms of target, being a software engineer and a student, the target is towards the more easy medium questions. And that's something that's actually kind of common even later on into senior developers. This interview is oftentimes used as a buffer to really test to see how someone can think through a problem. But eventually there could be other iterations of the app or more harder questions that can be easily added by users or by the staff to give more advanced challengers an opportunity to try it out.
Thank you, Mark. We're going to move to the next team now.
Sure.
We are the Egd Collective, a nonprofit organization aimed towards eliminating discriminatory barriers gamers face within the gaming industry. Our competitors are unable to provide the opportunities we have been supplying. They rely on hefty fees developers cannot afford. It is common for female and minority gamers to face criminal levels of discrimination, sometimes in the form of death threats. The industry has not done enough to fix this. With an initial $400,000 investment, we will improve on-student programs as well as fellowship initiatives so we can continue eliminating the predatory practices of the industry. We will continue to provide the connections every gamer needs to thrive without the limitations of not having all the right resources because we are the right resources. As an investor, you will be able to help every gamer who has been told it can't amount to a career even though the industry is currently worth over $160 billion. To learn more about us, visit our website at egdcollective.org.
Hi team, this is Nora May. Thanks for that. I have a college friend who created the organization Girls Make Games. So she was also very interested in this intersection. Now, you mentioned some of the really big fees that are often a deterrent for those underrepresented in gaming. So can you talk about how your business model is different? For example, I see her fundraising every year so that she has capital to provide scholarships to people who can't afford summer camps, for example. So I know that it's a hard business model. Share what your thoughts are on that.
So our business model is a little twofold. We're mainly going after grants. And since we are a very interdisciplinary subject matter, we can qualify for a lot of them. And that's also the benefit of us being a nonprofit organization over a standard corporation. However, we're also instituting a chapter model because we are educational programs who want to get this on various campuses. And if schools do support their students or find this to be a valuable thing, we do collect chapter fees from them. But if students cannot get the chapter fees for whatever reason, that's when we would start to use the grants to help subsidize that cost. We don't want schools or students to ever have money be an issue to be a part of the program. And so we also teach students how to lobby their administrations to help pay for it if they aren't convinced yet. And then we also have a lot of sponsors. So prior to being a CUNY startup, we raised around $7,000 as a college club on campus. And we've worked with to date over about 30 sponsors. And there's a lot of money within sponsorships in the industry that are willing to put their money into events, especially ones like we do. So the money is definitely there. It's just we're going to try and get it from the people that can't afford to pay for it.
Any other questions from the judges? So I have a question for you, Kira. What is your strategy in terms of delivering these programs to the marketplace? How what are your plans? How would you get that done?
So we've very recently started outreaching to schools outside of the CUNY system, and we already have 3 on board. Actually, one in Pennsylvania, Hawaii, and California. And what we're originally going to do is we're going to just start with the 18 undergraduate CUNY schools that exist. And we're going to have site managers at each of these institutions, and they can be volunteers, they can be professors, and they can be students if students are willing and able to do it, and we will train them in how to deliver these programs. And so...
And how are you tracking success?
So we're mainly tracking success from contact hours, and we track students after they graduate. And so to date, we've had around 20 so students that have gotten jobs or internships or scholarships from being a part of our programs. But after a student graduates, we still keep in contact with them, and we hope that EGD chapters are more of community centers that exist on college campuses, so the entire community can get involved and take advantage of their programming. So the reach is a lot wider than just college students, and being able to have them come back and tell us what they're doing is how we're going to really track success and how many people actually do get into the industry, how many people get jobs. And then on the larger scale, our mission isn't really truly over until we see change in the industry itself. And so we hope to contribute to that in a major way.
And how is COVID-19 impacting the gaming industry right now, would you say?
It's really interesting because it's two different things. On one end, there's a current surge that's very temporary because everyone's stuck inside and everyone wants to play games, and that will taper off the longer we get into this. But um, games are one of the few things that are easily able to transfer online. And while we aren't selling out stadiums anymore with tickets to large esports events or having in-person conventions, a lot of organizations have moved online, and so have we, and we've been operating our online events since CUNY shut down.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Karen. Really appreciate that. We're moving on to the next team.
Hi, my name is Aiken Dancer, and I am co-founder of Enhanced View and currently a student attending Baruch College. I'm not sure if many of you know that your college or former college has an art gallery or a radio station. We did a survey and over 81% of students don't know either. We've discovered that students are not fully aware of what resources and activities are on their campus. See, when we spoke with college administrators who are in charge, they admitted they don't know how to connect with students. And colleges lose millions of dollars every year trying to connect, engage, and excite students. Our solution is Enhanced View. It's a platform that's using augmented reality where students will connect and share real-time information about resources and activities. See, our goal is to help students connect and access all of their resources and to help college administrators engage and excite students while saving lost funds unrealized. Thank you.
So I have a question. Thank you so much for your pitch and your video. So I regarding your pricing, which if I recall was somewhere around $500 per student. So what type of study did you conduct to come up with the pricing, and what makes you think that students would actually be willing to pay that?
I didn't get that last part, Ileana.
What type of studies did you conduct to come up with that pricing?
Oh, well, we did research and we found out how much in student activity fees that students are currently paying. And that is our initial strategy for market penetration.
Got it. Thanks.
Hi, this is Doreen. I had a question about so I saw in your strategy about looking into spending more on the marketing side. So could you elaborate a bit more about the funds that will be allocated towards marketing and how you plan to meet and scale the product development in that process?
Well, in going forward with our marketing, we found that it's optimal to put, our ads around colleges so students are aware. Even though we currently have traction with students, because we already have people signed up for our beta, and the funds would be allocated towards more student awareness. And our strategy for going forward in terms of product development, our strategy in going forward for student development is with college administrators. Because students, in effect, aren't paying for it. It's really college administrators.
So, Aikens, what does the market look like for something like this? Like, how many potential customers are we talking about? And what's the overall and target markets for what you're looking at?
Well, currently our initial target is Baruch College right now, and overall our potential market is huge. And in the U.S., because the U.S. currently has 19 million students.
Okay, and how does that relate to actual dollars?
Because every college has a different pricing for how much students are paying in student activity.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any other questions?
If I do, this is enough.
Yeah.
I have a question around, with COVID right now, how have you been thinking about potentially pivoting your business, if at all?
I didn't get that last part.
With COVID, how have you been thinking about pivoting your business, if at all?
Jan is our data analyst. Would you have an input, Jan?
Can you please repeat the question? I didn't hear. You said COVID
Yeah.
and then here afterwards.
Right. So with the current situation in which we are, how have you been thinking about potentially pivoting your business?
So with COVID, we've noticed that students actually don't have the access to information, even though we're online. So we've been using Twitter and Facebook to ask each other questions about what's happening on campus and what should we do moving forward. So we noticed that when things will get back to normal with our platform, our students would have the ability to get real life information as well as share with each other through virtual experience, so that in the event of this happening again, we'll still have a virtual platform to be just have access to the amenities on campus, like our libraries and our radio station, given that we can't go on campus anymore.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll be moving on to the next team now.
Thank you.
.9% of the United States population are seniors 65 and older. 32 million family caregivers spend an average of $7,500 annually using their own money to provide care for their loved ones. My grandpa has Alzheimer's disease. Because of my schedule, I don't have time to receive live professional training. One time he fell from his chair. I rushed into him trying to pick him up. Unfortunately, that didn't go well since he did not want to get up. Not having the caregiver skills caused my grandpa to have injuries. That's why we came up with Care Talk is a platform where family members can connect with licensed caregivers and receive professional training. As easy as just going to the website and booking the course. It's 24/7. It has multiple languages for caregivers who do not speak English, and it's 100% online. All our instructors are licensed caregivers, verified and background checked.
Hi, I have a question about how you're sourcing your licensed caregivers, and what type of technical support are they getting to record those videos and teach their classes?
So the family caregivers are gonna sign up to the website. The instructors is gonna get the information from the students, and after they get the information from the students, they were able to do a customized training for the family caregivers. How we're gonna get the instructors on the caregivers instructor is by posted on searching on Indeed. There's a lot of caregivers instructors looking for jobs.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks so much for this presentation. I think it's a really interesting space. Can you please elaborate a little bit more on your business model and how you're looking to make money, and actually on your customer acquisition strategy as well?
So our revenue model is a subscription base. We're charging $25 per course, 15 students per class. For example, for the senior care course, the class revenue, we came out with $1,125. After paying the instructor, we saw we had like a total revenue of $795.
Thank you. And can you elaborate a bit more? How are you looking to acquire your customers? What is your marketing strategy to get to them?
Our marketing strategy is to do Facebook ads. We also see the potential with affiliating with CUNY. There's a lot of college students who know family caregivers, and affiliating with CUNY will help us spread the word of how our services could benefit the family caregivers.
Thank you.
Hey, John, can you talk a little bit about how COVID-19 affects your business in terms of the demand for it or anything else? Go ahead.
Yes, Remy, great question. Evidence show that deaths among people who have tested positive on coronavirus are highest at older ages. So if we compare age structures across countries, Italy has 30% of seniors who are 60 years and older, and US has 22.9%, which it shows that there's a need and there's a growing market, and we do see that how the deaths among being affected by coronavirus is through the fact that countries do have older people, and that's why we see that this course could benefit.
Sure.
family
And what does somebody do today if they're a family caregiver? And there's a lot of people caught up in this now, and probably for the near future as well. What options do people currently have? So if I want to learn about taking care of my grandparents or my parents, what would I do currently?
So our competitive advantage is that is 100% online. There are other competitors, but their home care aid charges $300 to $60 per course, and is mostly is live, so you have to attend their workshops. We also did like customer interviews, and one of the biggest organization called the Summer Association saying that they have they struggle getting members to attend their workshops, and and it was a big wow moment for us because we were able to identify that one of the major problems is that the courses available right now are expensive, and through our interviews we know that the annual income of households that are family caregivers are from 30,000 to 50,000. So a key advantage is that we're putting in a price that is affordable for family members, and it's just as easy as just enrolling the course, and the instructor will analyze each student and come up with a customized training, which would definitely benefit. And
That's great. Thank you, John. We're going to be moving on to the next team now. Thanks.
Hello everyone, I'm Savita Shati, the CEO and founder of Threes. Me and my small team have created an interactive networking platform for investors and entrepreneurs worldwide to communicate, to connect, to interact with each other, and hopefully to conduct some business. It can be used by entrepreneurs to either to pitch virtually, either for fundraising, feedback, advice purposes, and in the other side can be used by investors to get to keep track of promising ventures, to get new investments opportunities. The platform is time efficient. It is one-time download, one-time sign up, and it can be used at any time of the day, at anywhere in the world. It's super inclusive. It is global. The opportunity is global. It's unbiased. And most importantly, it's transparent. It's super, super cool tool that goes live on App Store on May 8th. Thank you.
Questions from judges?
Yeah, can you share how investors get connected to the platform and what makes them excited and encouraged to come check out new ideas?
Thank you so much for the question, Norma. Can I have Remy? Can I have the camera? Did you stop share the camera, the video?
You could share your screen if you want, Debbie.
No, actually, I just wanted access to the camera, but it's fine. I will answer the question that Ms. Norma did to me. Well, the point of our platform is to connect entrepreneur and investors in time efficient manner. So investor, for example, right now with coronavirus and all the traveling and meeting, face-to-face communication that is social distancing that we are all practicing is a new world, is a new area, and investors don't have the time. So as I said, you can download us. We go in App Store tonight, download, sign up, build a profile, and you give us your investment criteria, and we find you from the other side, we find you the ventures that you are interested to see or you potentially to invest for. Why not?
What type of customer discovery have you done to realize who is your ideal investor persona? Are you more targeting angel investors or institutional investors? Kind of And how have you thought about the app kind of integrating with their current investment process?
Thank you so much for the question, Sarah. Look, the platform is two-sided, right? We have entrepreneurs, innovators, startups, people who are bold, creative, imaginary, being willing to take on risky things. We truly believe that those are the people who can prevent outbreaks like coronavirus, and not only from happening again. Is where the big breakthrough lies. So our investors are angel investors, are VCs who are into for now, right? Those are targeted for now, because in the later stage of the application, probably later years, where our technology is more developed, we tend to include even CVCs. So our angel investors, business angel, people basically who have their money more than 1 million or 2 million in their bank accounts, and they want to invest. Those are business angels, right? And early stage venture capitalists. So what we do, what our application does, is that for the investor side, we screen the venture, we determine their development stage, and based on that, we scan for potential investor for that development stage. For example, business angels are more entitled to invest on seed and angel stage ventures. Venture capitalists, for example, are more interested to invest on early stage startups. So we have our criteria, we have our let's say variables. Our model, what does is it makes sure to match the right investor first with the right venture stage of development. So both of these two parties have maximized their relationship through interaction, through shared information, the knowledge, and pitching. And it's, as I said in the video, it's super easy 24/7. You can be somewhere in Australia. For example, think about it, guys. Right now, what we are doing, we are virtually pitching our ideas to you, right? From in the other side. Can you imagine if you have an app where you just can go and download it and build a profile, and you can do that 24/7? The opportunity is global. You might be somewhere in Australia and pitch to an investor who is right now in San Francisco, right? You can ask questions at any moment. No need for meeting, no need for time, no need for traveling, to have the face-to-face communication. And with all, actually, the idea of Threes came to me 2 years ago, but right now, to be honest, coronavirus has provided us with the right timing, because coronavirus has proven that, okay, I was not wrong. This idea can work. We are all practicing social distancing, staying home, virtually working from home, remotely from home, right? So why cannot entrepreneurs and venture capitalists, business angels, do the business from home, from anywhere? I wish in 2019 I had 2018 I had an application where I can just download and I pitch my idea to investors worldwide. May the best one win. So we as the application, we offer the opportunity to everyone, no matter who they are, where they are, their social status, their education, no matter where they are. They have an idea, they have a product, they want to pitch it to you. They can ask either for funding or either for advice or feedback. That's awesome, right? For example, allow me. Yes?
Thank you, Debbie. Yeah,
Remy,
we get the 5 minutes.
Remy, may I ask? You just.
Sure, of course.
Yes. So, for example, Y Combinator is the biggest accelerator program in the world, in America, right? What they do is they pick the startups and they make them relocate to San Francisco in order for them to invest, right? Forget that. You can do that 24/7. You don't need to relocate. And most importantly, if you just need a feedback or advice, God bless you, you will have that, right? So through
Awesome.
sharing and interaction. Yeah,
Thank you, Debbie.
I took more time, but it's just, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. No, that's okay. Thank you.
What's Wonderreal? Start with school-age kids, 6 to 11s. They're discovering the world, and they deserve, well, better than this.
Blood is thicker than water!
Because better exists. All over the world, filmmakers feature kids of every background, class, and color. Drama, comedy, real life. Wonderreal brings it online. With our global collection, Wonderreal will curate a personal channel for each child, tuned to her interests and passions. with kid-friendly search and on-demand viewing and simple, intuitive parent controls. 16 million US families have a child between 6 and 11, yet we'll make a profit at only 20,000 subscriptions. So let big streaming pray and pay for one colossal hit. We'll build 1,000 mini hits, smart entertainment custom crafted for school-age kids. We hope.
Yeah, I think I can ask before you put the video on. So can you elaborate a bit more on your business model and how are you going to reach your customers?
So, well, the first question, the business model is there's a startup business model and then there's a long-term business model. The startup business model is straight subscription in the United States. And it's basically a child-per-child subscription so that we have full-featured services for every kid and really serious individualization. We break even somewhere around 20,000 subscriptions, which is this tiny, tiny, tiny percent of the market. And the notion is that once we've hit that, we've built a pretty formidable collection. With that collection, we then go out to other territories and identify marketing partners who will know the best way to do video distribution in their market. So, for example, in the Middle East, subscription doesn't really work. And we're currently talking to a telco in the Middle East about the possibility of taking the collection and making it available there. In terms of the second question, I think was about where we're going to find our customers. That too has phases. One of the bases of the model is that we sort of build concentrically. We're starting with a research project that is planned to begin over the next 2 months. The goal is to get about 1,000 kids using the research project, and that'll be absolutely free. The next stage is to build on that 1,000 kids to get somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 kids for a 1-year paid service, which will it'll achieve 2 things. One, it'll build ambassadors. It'll get kids involved. The other is it's going to be a research project for us. We're going to be able to gather lots of information about kids and really learn how to build and modify the system. And then the third phase is actually launching the full system. As I said, the sort of 2 sides of it are needing a very, very small audience to become viable and having this incredibly large audience, really 800 million kids worldwide, for the potential market.
We hear a lot about like the streaming wars these days between Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus. How do you differentiate or beat out the competition in that you have an organization like Disney spending millions of dollars to launch their streaming site and gaining millions of viewers in their first 6 months? Kind of why this right now?
It's the $10 billion question, and the real answer is guerrilla marketing. What we believe we can do is provide a service that kids are going to appreciate, and the kids are going to love, and that they're going to feel ownership over. The conceptual model is a Nickelodeon in the 1980s, where kids really, really felt like that was theirs. By targeting kids and enabling them to really, really own and love this, we believe we can sort of sneak in. There's also a matter of, there's been a lot of talk about subscription fatigue, this notion that people already have free subscriptions, they're not going to want more. We're pretty confident that the numbers show that that's not accurate. People are used in the US anyway to paying like $1,200 a year for cable. They're now down to maybe $300 a year for streaming. So we think that in the demographic that we're starting with, there's plenty of money and there's enough interested kids for us to develop a kind of initial, secret membership cult-like status that'll get us through the cracks.
And will you be screen agnostic in that oftentimes children watching on a mobile device, an iPad, a TV, maybe a shared home computer, like will they be able to watch across devices?
Yeah, our core technology notion was that we shouldn't be app-based. We're built initially as a web app, partly so the kids can not only be across devices, but can sign in wherever they are. So if they're at a friend's house and the friend's parents haven't downloaded the app, they'll still be able to get into Wonderreel as long as they know their pass pattern. That makes it easier for kids to watch multiple places and to share with their friends and get their friends involved too.
So, go ahead.
No. I just hope that answered Sarah's question. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Okay.
So Russell, how much content do you currently have available?
So right now we have about 15 hours of content licensed for absolutely free from our providers. We have about 400 hours lined up, which providers are willing to license to us as soon as we have minimum guarantee money to offer them. One of the big things that we've learned is that everybody in the world is offering revenue shares, and so content providers are turning them down. But as soon as you offer them $100, $150 per hour as a minimum guarantee, all of a sudden everybody becomes really, really interested. So when we get to the next phase where we need a lot more content, we think it's going to be a matter of very few months before we can sign all those deals because they're pretty lined up right now.
Okay, great. Thank you. We'll move on to the next team.
Hi, I'm Josiah, and I'm Edward, and we're the co-founders here at Escapist. Now, millions of people love to travel, but what they hate is the hours they take travel planning and trying to find that perfect experience. At Escapist, we tackle that with a personalized itinerary by asking high-level questions that correlate to your personality, travel pace, and hobbies to make your perfect trip. With our itinerary, we'll take the hassle out of travel planning so you'll be able to focus on what truly matters, your experience. Over 40 million US travelers demand some sort of personalization in their trip. We have a growth rate of 45% a month and plan to sell 600 trips by the end of the year, resulting in $100,000 in sales. We're asking for $200,000 for marketing and further product development. And investors can expect a return of 200% by year 3. And we believe together we can design travel that feeds the soul. So thank you. We hope that you venture with us.
So I have a question here. This is Ina. So could you tell us a bit more about your current customer acquisition strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. So we aim to really hone down our marketing strategy. That's how we acquire customers. We aim to have a marketing presence in all phases of our customer journey, especially to our digitally savvy millennial customers, from initial engagement to acquisition and then retention. And this is how we plan to do it. First, we'll generate traffic really through building community with our Escapist blog and activate campaigns across social, as it plays such a pivotal role in how the millennial travelers make the decisions, right? In fact, around 87% are looking at Facebook for travel inspiration, and an increasing number are looking at Instagram. And why does this matter? Is because millennials are 54 times more likely, or 55, percent more likely than their other generations to make purchases based on influencer recommendations. How we generate this, this traffic and generate it into leads is by offering kind of an exclusive discount, waiving 3% commission, and introducing our referral program. And lastly, we'll bring it all home through our support service offerings and sharing our really cool, awesome travel success stories. I mean, the fact of the matter is people love sharing their travel photos, and we are, we're hopeful that they'll share their experiences and tag us with along the ride. And so that's how we're able to generate this organic growth through social media.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
How do you see the travel industry changing? I mean, it's one of the hardest hit right now. Can you talk about any changes you've implemented in the last couple of weeks based on your prediction for how travel will recover?
Yeah, absolutely. So we know that consumers will re-enter the travel market because there's almost this inherent desire to travel and this curiosity to explore new cultures. And they'll, of course, enter with some sort of caution and social distancing still top of mind. But I think this is the very same reason why our platform will really be exactly the type of platform that consumers are looking for to help ease this sort of burden and complexity in planning. So to counter these measures, we've actually prepared to place an emphasis on travel insurance and pushing out friendly notifications on how to keep safe during travel. And just to speak a little bit more about of how it will bounce back. We can see app downloads in China are actually bouncing back from their previous years and across all travel and mobility tech markets.
I wanted to be on video though. I was mad.
And can you talk a little bit about how do you get your travel inventory and what are the deals with partners and what do you currently have on the platform or what stage you're at?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we are currently at a pre-MVP stage. We're really just taking this time to build
Yeah.
a really great web app platform. But to talk more a little bit about our tech side, I'll have JJ, our CTO, take on that question.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, so we're planning to have a connectivity partner with bookings.com. And yeah, we have a launch page on Wix, which also has a backend function with Node. So we're planning to explore that, also using React Native for our mobile and switching from our Wix to fully reactive React page for our technology.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah, can you talk a little bit about this feature that you just mentioned just briefly about travel insurance and how Escapist could help the traveler, especially post pandemic environment?
Absolutely. I think there's this growing complexity that now comes with travel planning. I mean, COVID has fundamentally changed the way that we interact with humans and how we will interact with, say, accommodations. We've seen through research that Airbnb is actually becoming more successful because people will move away from hotels and more to private homes. And so with that change, we know that there's going to be this need in figuring out how we navigate this going forward. And I think that Escapist is the perfect platform to do that and to kind of give an already fixed itinerary and tips on how to navigate the safety in every country that if you travel with us.
Super. Okay, great. We're going to be moving on to the next team now.
Thank you.
I'm Zach. And I'm Thomas. And this is Pixplore, a new kind of social media platform based around what's happening right now around you. Zachary and I came with the great idea to marry both location and real-time events together so that we're able to present our users a feed of what's the most popular things happening around them, whether it's a college campus or the local city or neighborhood. We want to show them the most eventful, most exciting bars, restaurants, house parties, really anything. Thomas and I first had this idea while we were in college. We'd be sitting around thinking to ourselves, where should we go tonight? What should we do? What's exciting? What's fun? Then the next day, we'd see all these posts on various social media platforms about where our friends were. And we'd say to ourselves, gee, I wish I would have known. I would have gone there too. It looks like it was a good time. So we created this social media platform to enable our users to be a part of the moment, to be there. Not necessarily things that were planned, but spontaneous.
Hi, Thomas. Sorry to ask this question again, but how are you going to make money?
Okay, so we have pretty much a two-pronged approach. The first prong is like almost every other social network that's going to revolve around advertising. But let's take our competitors such as Yelp and Foursquare and focus on advertising around the actual venue. We'll focus it around experiences and kind of events. So instead of having, let's say, a restaurant having to advertise themselves as a restaurant, we could do, let's say, like food and different, let's say, drinks or stuff like that that kind of revolve around the event. So we're able to be flexible with our user. And the cool thing is, since we're such a location-driven app, and let's say you have two people at two different events within 30 feet of each other, since we know kind of like the age groups, we could change the advertisement for that particular event happening right now. So if you're on the beach, it could be a drink, it could be a drink advertisement, while if you're right next door, you're at a kid's party, it could be something more toned for that. And then the other prong is we want to do, let's say, like ticket sales for smaller venues.
And we want to make it very easy for, let's say, a local bar to produce, let's say, a ticket so that they could kind of build revenue like that.
And have you done any research, or what have you based this idea on? Where does the need come from?
Okay, so originally I had the actual problem myself, where if you'd ask me right now what presently there is to do, it's very hard. You have to kind of put it together with use Snapchat, Foursquare, Facebook events, Instagram. So you had to come up with all these sources and kind of try to get an image of like what's there to do right now. But the problem is a lot of this data is kind of general. So it'd say like what to do in, let's say, New York during the summer. And a lot of the Instagram, Facebook posts are kind of past tense, 24 hours, and really older, could be years old. And the other thing was Snapchat. When I was trying to use Snapchat, it was kind of what my friends were doing. Nothing was based on my location per se. So you'd be seeing content that your friends were doing on the other side of the world. And so with this idea in mind, we started going out with a survey, and college campus, and everyone said they essentially had this issue where if they went out, they would end up at the same exact, whether bar or restaurant, with the same exact group of friends. And they said there was nothing new about it, and it'd actually get boring. And they'd say sometimes on a Thursday or Friday night, when they'd want to be going out, they'd just skip it because it's just the same exact thing and the same exact few people. And then we took this survey, and because of the whole COVID crisis, we decided to partner with the CUNY Startup program to release this survey over their email list. And we got up close to 100 responses where people said that what they use in order to go out is pretty much group chats and texting. So that means that the plethora of information on the internet, they're not using and they're not utilizing.
Thanks, guys. Super excited about future of community and thinking about kind of what does this mean post-COVID. If you were to make a statement of what this is 5 years from now, like what have you changed in the life of your user, or like what have you created?
So the idea 5 years from now is that instead of it being a process that if a user wants to go out and go seek out like a really authentic experience, that instead of spending hours researching and trying to figure out what there is to do and who there is to hang out with, that all you have to do is just go on one app to an easy to see feed that shows you events and experiences that are just happening right now. We want to make the whole process from a 2-hour process to a 5-minute process. That right now, it's like if you want to decide you want to go out, then it's like a whole while trying to figure out what there is to do, what authentic experience there is, and who to do it with. That you say, I want to go out, open up a feed, and bam, right there is everything that you could possibly seek out in a 10, 20, 30-minute radius.
And what user change is there to create the feed? Like, do people have to be logging where they are? Are you sharing your location? Is the data anonymized? Like, how are you creating the long list of activities that are happening?
So when we approached this, we said privacy is an extremely important issue to us. So we don't want to real-time track the user and send it to our servers. So what happens is when a user opens up their Pixplore app, it immediately pulls their location, but we don't see the location. What it does is it sends, so we get the location pulled, and we pull a feed of different authentic events and experiences happening around them. And this is organized based on if your friend happens to be close to you at a particular experience, if it's happening in the past couple hours, how recent it was, and how popular it was. We take that all into account, and the feed changes based on your likes and what events that you kind of like go out and seek out. And so we want to make it as easy for the user as possible. So there's no inputting. All you do is just open it up, and it's right there, present it right in front of you. And we take all your past history kind of really into account.
It's great. Thank you, Thomas. We're going to be moving on to the next team.
Thank you very much, everyone.
From a very young age, we are always taught to save and invest. Many of us are lucky to have family and friends who teach us, or for some of us, we scour the internet trying to piece together a financial game plan. But how many of us actually have a single source of consistent, reliable information to teach us? Introducing Folio. We are a micro-learning platform aimed to teach K-12 students financial literacy. Our core curriculum is broken down into bite-sized informational videos which help students retain information. Our lessons range from choosing your bank account to setting financial goals for the future. If you have any questions or would like to follow up with us, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Aaron. Feel free to direct your questions to me while I share my screen.
So I have a question here. First off, congratulations. I think that this is obviously a big problem. So I was curious. I wasn't quite sure, and please, correct me. I understood from your video that you want to go after school to pay for this. If so, what is your pitch to them? Because we know that school typically don't really have money budget for this type of thing. So what will be your pitch to them? And yeah.
Yeah, great question. So we do want to go after schools because we really want this to be integrated into the K through 12 system. So there's a single place to make sure all students are able to get it. And our pitch is really, we'll go to a school, we offer our pricing, but we're actually hoping to get banks to either sponsor schools or amount of students fully, or at least subsidize the cost. Also, I do believe our pricing is quite competitive because we understand that schools' budgets vary wildly, and some schools, especially the ones most in need, don't have large budgets. So we do want to work with the schools to be able to find something that works for them and for us to make sure all students get financial literacy.
What type of success metrics are you tracking on the student side? And what does success look like for a student having gone all the way through the Folio curriculum?
Yeah, I think one of my colleagues, Joshua, might be able to answer
Yeah,
that.
I can definitely answer that. So Folio, as it's been stated, provides condensed financial literacy at an annual subscription. In terms of students going through the program, it actually operates with a single sign-on method with integration with things like Clever or any other school platform. So it works pretty seamlessly with a lot of the systems that schools already have. And the way that we integrate with the programs that they already have is through providing kind of benchmarks with a lot of the videos, as well as quizzes, games, grades, and all of that. We have different pricing models depending on an individual user, a school, and a district. So the flagship product is for the schools because they will be able to create assignments for the students that are personalized and catered for whatever it is that they want to teach. But when we operate on a district level with multiple schools, we actually, our big long-term goal is to eventually create certifications, Folio certifications that we can provide students and that can help equip them for when they transition into college. They can say, hey, I actually am financially literate. I went through this program and I'm, not like the regular school curriculum that doesn't teach students the importance of personal financing.
Thank you.
I hope that answers.
How many schools have you been speaking to so far, and what has been their initial feedback, and how easy it is actually to integrate this into the curriculum, because it's quite difficult to change the curriculums?
Yeah, so currently we're speaking to 2 of our schools in order to prototype test our first few videos. And actually one of our main differentiators is microlearning, and there's 2 reasons for that. One is it's just much better for students to learn that. And second, we understand how hard it is to change a curriculum, but with our format and especially microlearning, such short videos and content that's so condensed, it makes it much easier to integrate, where we can integrate it into an already existing class. Say you have a math class that you want to integrate financial literacy, it can take 5 to 10 minutes per week just to assign students and review a video that's on the site. And students can either do this in class to watch a video or even outside of class. So it doesn't take up any already existing curriculum.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron, can you review your business model, revenue model?
Sure. So our business model, currently on average, the DOE currently spends about $400 per student for their educational technology budget. Obviously, this amount varies wildly, but we will be charging about $8 per student, which is about 2% of their budget. But we do want this, like I mentioned before, to be subsidized. And we're hoping to sell in 100 or excuse me, 100 student blocks. So a school can choose to either do it for a certain amount of grades, just high school. They can do it for all of middle school and high school, or they can just do it for as many students as they believe necessary.
Okay, great. We'll be moving on to the next team now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Taewon Lee, co-founder and CEO of SpareTime. The idea of SpareTime came from my personal experience. It was my first visit to the United States. I was on my way to Washington, D.C. There was no non-stop flight at the time I wanted, so I had a 6-hour layover in New York City. I was so happy that I would get to stay in the New York City for a while. During my long layover, I planned to eat pretzels in Central Park. However, when I arrived in New York, I got scared to get out of the airport and eventually decided to stay at the airport terminal. As a visitor, I couldn't overcome the pressure of missing my next flight. SpareTime will solve this problem. SpareTime is a unique combination of Uber and tour guide. We will take you to tour during your layover and drop you back to the airport before your next flight. Why not make your next layover an adventure? Check us out. Thank you.
Hi, talk to us about logistics, luggage, security.
Yes.
How will you make how will you make customers comfortable with the idea of leaving the airport?
Yes. Thank you for your question. So first of all, they are layover passengers. The luggage and baggages are moving in the airport. They are not taking out of their luggage to outside. And for the security check, that's why we require to have a 6 hours layover minimum. Then we can we are that's because they have to have a 6 hours minimum layover in order to use our service because of like security check, and they may have a delay in the airport getting back to the terminal, stuff like that.
Hi, can you please elaborate a little bit more on your revenue model and where do you capture the customer and when?
Okay, so we take 25% of what driver makes. Driver will make $45 per hour for one passenger, and each additional passengers will pay $11 per hour. So for example, for family members traveling together, they pay about $67 per hour. So for the marketing, we will go out to the airport looking for potential customer at the airport in person. Also, we will use a word of mouth. We will give a free trial to taxi drivers and Uber drivers and travel platform. And also we have our landing page, and we are now we are looking for a beta testers through the landing page. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a question here. I recall from your competition slide, you mentioned some of those big tour bus companies. I would actually argue that these days, especially if you look at a lot of millennials, Instagram would actually be your number one competition. And based off that, I was wondering, how will you compete with a player like Instagram? And do you think that people need another app that will help them, schedule the trip and travel? Yeah.
I will let answer our CEO. He handles operation. Abhishek?
Hello. Yes, definitely. That's a nice question. For now, our services are based on the Uber drivers that we hire. I mean, the drivers who drive for Uber. So we are good on the supply side, and for the competition, we are not expecting other companies to reach out at our base price. So, yes.
Thank you.
Can you explain a little bit more about the number of passengers that have 6+ hours layover? I'm not familiar with what those numbers look like.
Oh, yes, sure. So, every day millions of travelers have long layover at airport. But so according to our research, most layover have more than 4 hours at the airport. Thank you.
And how many passengers would that be when you say millions? Is it 1 million per year, 5 million, 10 million?
33 millions per year. Thank you.
How many?
33 millions.
33 million passengers per year with 4 hours plus. Okay.
Yes, 33 millions only for in New York City.
Oh, just in New York City?
Yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks. Okay, we'll be moving on to the next team. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question here for Popsol. Thank you. Congratulations on your progress. So definitely, I think that your model of trying to go direct to consumer, I think, is really wise, and you should do that. I have a question about the actual soul. What is actually the magic sauce? Like, what is the competitive advantage that what's the technology behind the actual soul that makes it better than any other soul right now for runners or anyone that needs soul?
Well, the attraction is the. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, can hear you.
Okay. The attraction is the ability to change the soul, to do interchangeable souls instead of having one soul every day. I mean, one day with our souls, one day you can wear a Monday, and maybe Wednesday you'll wear a Sunday pop insert. So that is our attraction right now. I mean, it's fun. It's easy to insert. It's easy to detach the soul from the main part of the shoe.
Got it. And how often do you need to change it?
I'm sorry?
How often do you need to change it?
You can change it as you want. I mean, you can change it every day, or you can change it once a week.
Okay. Thank you.
So Vicky, explain a little bit for those of us who are not familiar with this concept of interchangeable souls, what your experience is.
My experience, you said?
Yes, like how did you come up with the idea for interchangeable souls? I remember when we first spoke, I was very unfamiliar with it. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, we figure, people wear out souls like 3-6 months once they get this year. Our souls give longevity. It's casual, it's easy to insert, and it's fun. It's fun to wear. Our shoe would take like a year or so to wear out because you're changing the soles. The market right now for casual shoes is like 80% of 100, and we feel we fit in the 90% of 100. Our soles is fun. As I said before, our soles is fun. It's
now,
different.
So the soles actually have they have branding around them, right? The things that people could put when you say they're fun, it's because they could put
Yeah.
emojis and other things on them. Is that correct?
Yes. Like one day, let's say Monday, you can wear Nike's logo, just do it. On Wednesday, you can wear like Bila, and maybe they'll say have fun on the soap.
Vicky, can you talk about why it was important to create a family product? Why is this not just marketed to adults or children? Talk about that decision.
Well, we feel that we're going to be like Build-A-Bear. Build-A-Bear has a lot of skins, different types of bears, and we feel we can do the same thing. We want to create independent stores that will have different inserts that you can put into the shoe. I think our best customers will be the kids wanting their personal names to put on the shoe. Our next best investor will be the adults who want business names or famous quotes or maybe sport teams names. I mean, it's a wide, it's open, the field is open to how many different types of inserts you can have. We plan to do a kiosk, which will allow people to go to the malls or maybe shoe stores like Macy's or Foot Locker, order the pop insert from a kiosk, which is going to even give us more of a popularity, because I think we're introducing something new that people can latch on to.
That's great.
Hi, can you hear me? This is Meg.
Yes.
Hi. What does it cost to produce the soles, and what is the margin that you're anticipating for each sole?
Okay, we're going to charge $60 for the initial shoe. And after that, you pay $20 for the pop insert. To make the shoe, the upper part of the shoe, which is the material, is going to take $2.50 each to make. The sole, which is the rubber part of the shoe, is going to take $2 each to make. So a total of $9 to make the shoe. And we're selling it for $60, and we're going to do wholesale for $30.
And where's it being manufactured?
We're going to outsource it to Alibaba. There's a lot of companies, factory companies there that will build the shoe. Unfortunately, we're going to outsource it to China. And they're cheaper and quick. They're very good at producing new and upcoming ideas, and this is one of those that they will take on instantly.
And what is
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great.
Hi, Brendan. It's Trin here. Would be really curious to hear a bit more about the whole customer journey and the logistics behind it.
Sure. So during the last semester, we were part of Ideas to Impact. And through that program, we really honed in on customer validation. So that's when we started to reach out and talk to partnered organizations or potential partners. And we've gotten a lot of feedback from charitable organizations and reuse entities that definitely need our help and need an online presence, especially when it comes to child charities such as churches and really the little guys that don't really have too much of an online presence. So we're pretty much creating an online platform that will facilitate donations.
And how does it work when, like, you can book a donation online? Do you send someone to pick up the donation, or what's the logistics behind it?
Right. So due to the current situation with the pandemic, we pivoted our business model. Essentially, initially we wanted to become only a tech-focused app, kind of like an Uber, but now we're gearing towards more of a delivery system, incorporating a delivery system where we can actually go pick up the items, deliver it to the charitable organizations, sanitize the items, and drop it off. So essentially, we kind of want to move towards that in the beginning, facilitate trust and relationships. Because a lot of the nonprofits right now, they're experiencing a lot of job cuts, and it's really hindering their operations.
Yeah, Brandon,
Got it. And
go ahead.
no, just a final question. Do you make some money from the users? Do you have some business model behind that as well?
Sure. So we charge charitable organizations on a subscription-based model. So if you look at this slide, we essentially charging the charitable organizations on the amount of items they plan to claim from typical consumers such as you. Like, let's say you have like a bicycle that you're not using, or items just laying around. Like, we all have that, and if you're not using it, you might as well donate it. So that's the problem we're trying to solve.
Got it. Thanks.
A lot of organizations actually have a really hard time with donation drop-offs, and many nonprofits won't accept goods because they don't have the staff on their side to sort and redistribute them. And so I'm curious, can you share who you've chatted with and what the reception has been?
Sure. So I actually went to my local parish, and I've noticed that they've been receiving a lot of items, like unwanted items that they're necessarily not going to use, and they just wind up throwing out. And they're having a lot of overhead costs by just hiring people to sort through those items and, like, decipher what they should keep and what they should throw out. And I think if we give them the opportunity to have an online presence while also be able to accept the donations, like items that they specifically want, I think there's a huge demand for that.
Can you talk, Brandon, a little bit about the problem? Because I know you went and spoke to a lot of people and did a lot of customer surveys and behavior analysis as to the two-sided problem of it all. The problem from, because I think you're looking at nonprofits not just as the big nonprofits, the ones, or the big churches, right? But the small nonprofits that don't get anything donated to them, and then the people who have stuff that want to donate.
Right. So it's definitely a two-dimensional problem. I think there's, like I mentioned before, everybody has items that they don't use or they want to get rid of, sell on eBay, but instead of messaging sellers, you can easily donate it and then receive a tax deduction for the fair market value of those in-kind donations. And so that's one of the pros for somebody looking at an individual or business looking to donate item. And then from a nonprofit or charity standpoint, we can give them the online presence to accept donations that they would have never seen before. Because if you type in on Google, Salvation Army comes up for most in-kind donations. So, those little parishes or like those little charities are really left out, and we're trying to target those.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So that was the final team to go through the Q&A. What we're going to do now is we're going to have the judges go to the breakout room. So I'll be moving them all into the breakout room, and then they'll deliberate there. and then they'll do their voting. And when they're done, then we'll come back and we'll close the pre-app event, which will then give us our top investor, our fan favorite, and then the judges have their own event code within the pre-app, and then they'll, based on their investments, we'll select the first, second, and third winners. So the judges are doing their final deliberations right now, and it was really a great day and a great experiment to attempt this for the first time. There's so many things that I learned by just going through this process. But one thing I'm really proud of is the effort and the work that everybody put into that. I'm excited to see which teams how they fared and who the fans choose and who the judges choose and who the top investor is. I also wanted to thank my two nephews are the ones who did the violin playing for the background music, Jojo and Paul Gagliano, and my wife, who's probably one of the best designers I've ever seen out there, was kind enough to donate her time to create all the graphics and slide presentation design for this. So we're really excited. Okay, so I'm going to display the results now to see who the winners were and how it went. Let's see. Okay, we'll start with the top leaderboard, startup leaderboards by the pre-investors. Enhanced View was one. Egd Collective came in second, and Pixplore came in third. So again, Enhanced View was one, Egd Collective is two, and Pixplore is three. Let's see. And then the judges, the leaderboard for the judges is Folio came in first. Congratulations, Folio. Next Generation came in second, and Codelet came in third. So maybe what I'll do is Folio, Radhika, can you guys come on board?
Oh yeah, we can.
Yes, we did it.
Yay.
Oh man, I changed. I'm sorry, y'all. Thank you all so much.
Thank
you.
you.
Congratulations. That was outstanding.
Thank the judges.
Way to go. All right, the next team I want to come up is Next Generation. That would be German and Shayna. You guys came in second. Way to go. All right,
Thank you. Oh.
you.
And then Codelet. You guys came in third. Mark.
Sweet.
Hey.
Jackie. All right. Yeah, Codelet.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Yay.
That's awesome.
Thank you,
Glad
guys.
you liked it.
Okay, then the fan favorite, Enhanced View. Akins. You guys came in first. Where's Akins? Jan, are you guys there?
Hey, we're here. Thank you. Thank you.
Congrats. That's the fan favorite and Egd Collective. In terms of the fans, you guys came in second. That's pretty awesome. Kira, Ben, and Pix4, you guys came in third in the fan favorite. So congratulations. Thank you to all of you for putting in the time and the effort you had to put in for this event for the whole semester. You guys could have quit after COVID hit us. We're in the center of it all. We see our neighbors, our neighborhoods, the 7 p.m. chorus of cheers. We get to hear that as well. But you guys stuck through it. And like I told many people, I wouldn't have been surprised if out of the 15 teams that we were down to 7 or 8, but we were only lost one team in the process. And that was somebody who actually had gotten sick with COVID on their team. So congratulations to all of you. Congratulations to the mentors who put in such effort and such tremendous work. They were just remarkable, and I'm humbled by them. So thank you all. We did it, and it's not even 1 o'clock. I always love finishing early. Judges, thank you so much for the time you put in. You had to look at the 2-minute videos. You looked at the 1-minute videos. You looked at the 5-minute videos. and you stuck with it, and you put in your heart into it, and we greatly appreciate that. So thank you all, and have a great weekend, everyone.